Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds, I'm Nerdarchy Dave. Today I'm joined by all these fine nerds. Of course, you have myself and Nerdarchy Ted here. But we also have Stephen Partridge, our zookeeper for this evening and for this campaign. We have Robin in the house, as well as Carlos. There's links to all these fine people in the description down below, but that's not all you'll find down there. You will find the link to the Notify Kickstarter page for Zoo Mafia RPG. That's right, the game we're about to play, it will be kickstarting in about a week from now, and you'll be able to get your own copy soon. But if you can't wait till then, you can also grab the quick start rules. They are over on nerdarchy.com, and I think there's probably a link in the description. If not, I'm going to have to put it there. With that, I'm just going to throw it to our zookeeper.
All right, well, hello everybody. Welcome to Zoo Mafia Blood Moonshine on Nerdarchy. My name is Stephen Partridge. I am your GM, also called a zookeeper in this system. Love it. We love Sirenscape as well. That is what we're using for sound effects and for music. So if you hear the cool sound effects, that's why. I will ask all of my awesome players to allow me to take them on a little bit of a narrative journey as we get started here. But first, I think we need to introduce ourselves, right? So, well, Dave, we know Dave, so Dave, you can start, but don't tell us who you're playing because we're going to get there.
All right, Nerdarchy Dave here from Nerdarchy, and I'll be producing everything behind the scenes this evening.
Ted?
Hey, I'm Nerdarchy Ted. You know, one of the players here.
Robin. Oops.
Oh my god, I'm like sitting here fighting with my... Okay, there we go. I hit all of the buttons correctly that I can hear you and you can hear me. Hi, I'm Robin. I write books. You should totally read them because they're pretty good. I will be playing Jasper Jade, who's a flying fox drifter and drinking the gender fluid. Ted. Or did you just pass it to me? You just passed it to me. Hi, Carlos. Yep. I'm sorry. I'm also on pain meds.
It's all good. No worries. What's good, Internet? My name's Carlos Rivera. I run the Volcanic Knight YouTube channel. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to be on this side of the screen. So, with that, I'm going to pass it right back to our illustrious zookeeper.
All right. So, we are going to get going with a little bit of narrative, if you'll indulge me. The dolorous metal chime of a clock strikes 12 in the recesses of your awareness. Slowly, your senses return to you, dull at first, then sharpening. The first awareness you find is the taste of copper strung on your lips, the burn of booze, or is it bile, lingering at the back of your throat. The cold stone floor scrapes coarse against your bare skin as you stagger to rise. Those of you with fur find it matted with, what is that? Is it your blood? It's not your blood. It isn't the blood of anyone surrounding you either, as they too awaken. You find buckling leather straps snapped where you once lay on the floor. Were you bound? Memories swirl in the fog of your mind, distant shouts and a fleeting pain in the hollows of your remembrance. Were you kidnapped or were you killed? Everything swirls in a miasma. As your senses return to their normal state, a candle flickers to life. A black candle with a red flame. When I say this flame is red, I don't mean that it's red like any other candle flame or a normal dim fire. This flame is the color of rubies, the color of blood. The first isn't the only such candle either. As each of your senses return fully to you, more candles ignite of their own accord. Each possesses the same vividly red fire and ebony wax. Any efforts to snuff or move the candles prove futile. It's less like they're melted atop this paper-strewn desk and more like they're melted in place, frozen in time. The flames themselves don't burn, though they do seem to interact with air. Even if you try to blow them out, they remain lit. They light your path forward in this eerie, hollow stone chamber. Dave, can you please describe to us the first of these animals that we see waking without any gear at all?
So I guess you're gonna see a sugar glider, and I think they all look basically the same. Only
Okay.
other sugar gliders can tell them apart.
Okay, and
They're freaking adorable. That's what they are.
Yeah.
what's going through this sugar glider's head as he awakens, surrounded by carvings in this stone floor that look almost like runes in a circle?
Well, first thing he's going to do is as he comes to, he really tries to focus in on his senses, scent, hearing, smell, what he sees, taking everything in, absorbing it, mentally making notations of where everything is or isn't, because he should be wearing his customary yellow trench coat and fedora, but they're not here and there are no humans around, so it doesn't make sense. He's confused.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and make the first roll of the campaign for me, please? You're going to roll 3d6 and put your peepers to work.
All right. Well, that is a 8. Oh, and I have doubles.
Oh,
And the ally boss is showing.
okay. So you find yourself in a cylindrical room, no windows anywhere. The only source of light being these red candles. There are bookshelves that are curved themselves along the walls, filled with a variety of very thick, very old looking books. The entire chamber smells like wet paper and leather.
I'm sorry, that was 8 on the die. That's an awareness 6, so that's a 10.
That's a 10, even better.
So that's a success, and I would gain a marker, but I'm all full on markers.
Okay. So not only do you see these bookshelves, you see what looks like it would be like a cork board, except this is put directly onto the wall with nails and or spikes, like thick metal spikes that are designed to go into stone, with strands of red thread connected to a variety of different news articles. Ones that read through things like mysterious monster on the loose near the aviary, or massacre, bloodbath, chimps everywhere. All manner of different newspaper headings describing different strange things that have been going on in the zoo for some time now, actually. But the massacre thing is new to you regarding the bananas racket, the monkeys that lie strewn in pieces all over the main entryway area of the zoo. In this photograph, it is quite graphic. And you also notice a lever on the door. The door itself is rather large, but the 10, your success, lets you realize that this lever seems to be electrified. You notice there are machines in here against the walls in the shadows. They're almost Frankenstein in style. And there are tubes with this black effervescent liquid bubbling inside them, almost like ink. And they seem to also be connected to steam pipes that run through this entire underground, whatever it is that you find yourself. Beyond that, you notice the 3 other animals that are waking themselves. So, Dave, you tell us, who is the next animal that we will encounter?
I think it is going to be the jaguar.
Okay. Ted, can you describe for us who we see and what they might be doing?
So, Alejandro, the jaguar, has many felines, smooth and sleek. As he comes to, does what many cats do, completely stretches out, gives a yawn, while definitely concerned with this anomaly of something different than what was expected. Straps, the flames, the sigils. I don't know what in the zoo would be a warding gesture for such a thing, but he would certainly make whatever that is, and begin as the sugar glider did, look around, try to examine the items that look odd, but also think back to his time in the jungle, where he saw something, heard something, and see if there's any similarities to this anomaly to that.
Okay. For this one, you can choose to put your peepers to work as well, and or you can choose to just roll a d6. The choice is yours.
I like the idea of just rolling a d6.
Okay.
I got a 5.
You got a 5. All right. So you look around and it's like a memory, but it's more than a memory. It's kind of like a dream, but it's also more than a dream. As your senses, your awareness, everything just and you find yourself back home amid the thick, lush foliage with these trucks driving off into the night, and one case, a wooden case full of bootlegged liquor, falls off the back of the truck. Crash. They roll to the ground. Once you're certain that the silver moonlight isn't going to reveal you to any prying eyes, you cautiously find yourself stepping forward, and you see a thick, viscous, almost syrupy liquid inside these bootleg bottles. And there's no label. It's simply just viscous red liquid. And your awareness comes back to you. And you notice there are broken bottles with similar liquid shattered around all of you.
I'm immediately gonna like touch my lips and look to the lips of the others around. Does it appear that we've consumed any of this odd liquid?
It does. In fact, go ahead and put your peepers to work as well for this. This is
Coppery
something
taste in my
extra.
mouth?
Huh?
Is there a coppery taste in my mouth?
There is.
That is going to be an 8, sir.
An 8. So you can surmise that while you're not sure of the others because it's so dark, you're pretty confident that this red stuff matting your fur, at least, is the same liquid that was in these bottles.
So, pardon my my stepping out a moment, but we're familiar with who these others are. We've already been connected, yes.
Mm-hmm. You have, in fact, all of you were on a job. Maybe you think it was a job. It's all really hard to remember. You recognize the faces. You vaguely remember that all of you were doing something related to the local nightlife crime families. You can't remember exactly what, but you remember being approached by the Flying Fox in the room on behalf of the Sugar Glider. And since we've mentioned the Flying Fox, Robin, can you talk to us about this Flying Fox, what they look like and what they're doing?
The Flying Fox has to stretch their wing out to make sure they aren't hurt. Their fur coat is thick and shiny brown, a messy shock of ginger hair, blood spattered, sticky from whatever happened prior. Their eyes are a solid black that make it difficult to tell exactly what they're looking at. See, gender is an art of costumes and mannerisms, and Jay is not performing right now. Jay is cold and sticky and a mess, and every ounce of that simmering irritation is genuine. So when they stretch their other wing, carefully grasping with those little wing claws at the ends to grasp some of the equipment, the very first thing they do is move to arm themselves. A jagged rock, maybe, a piece of metal, anything heavy. The neck of a broken bottle. The sharp pieces held outward like a thread. That will do.
All right. So it seems that the Flying Fox may be defensive, perhaps? Is that valid, Robin?
Absolutely. That's the mood.
Okay. You can also put your peepers to work since you're very hyper aware right now.
Let's
see what else we notice in this room.
Sorry, I'm finding my dice tray, and there's stuff in it that should not be. I was not prepared. All right.
2 demerits.
10, and I have doubles.
10, and you have doubles. Okay. Are any of the bosses showing?
No.
Okay. So I believe that if you have doubles on a 10, you get a forward, correct? A +1 forward? I'm waiting on this to load.
That sounds accurate. Doubles for +1 forward. Yep.
All right. So you have a +1 forward on your next roll. And that being said, what you notice is that you also see this massive metal door with a barred window and the strange lever, the pull lever on the door. You notice it also has wires on it. You notice the same thing that the Sugar Glider noticed, and your mind pieces together, oh, those are meant as a security precaution to prevent somebody from just grabbing that lever and pulling it. This room is not meant to keep others out. It's meant to keep you in.
Okay. But there's got to be a way to get it down somehow.
Mm-hmm. You would
and
imagine.
the gears are already turning. They're just turning slow and rusty.
I'm sorry?
The gears are already turning. They are just turning slow and rusty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there is one more person in this group who has not yet really done much. Carlos, would you describe this person to us?
Completely. So, you guys notice at first what appears to be pretty small human in the room. You're all taken aback for a second. The humans are here? No. Wait. It's a lot hairier than as you guys approach to see this thing. He doesn't have a naked face as the humans would. Instead, it's definitely covered in fur, and you guys can immediately see it's the image of actually a chimpanzee and a little bowler cap, all cute and did up well. Gets up for a second. He's very taken back for a moment. As you know, he's like and he's rubbing his eyes, just trying to, get a hold of himself as he looks around the room, and you know that tingling sensation you get from a really, really, really good nap, where it kind of feels like your face, tongue, and fingertips are all just numb. That's what he's feeling for the moment, and he says, "What's going on?" As he looks to all of you.
Well, the first thing you notice is that you only have your hat. The rest of your gear, the rest of your clothes is somewhere else.
Ah! Ah! Ah,
Yeah. Almost definitely a zookeeper had a hand in this.
I'm fairly certain that those bottles that point towards the glass, whether we did so willingly or were force-fed, we have consumed them.
don't like it.
Is there any like residue of the liquid left?
There is.
I'm gonna like scoop up a finger of it and kind of like examine it and sniff it.
Okay. It smells like copper, and if you taste it, it tastes like what you already have an aftertaste from in your mouth.
This and the aftertaste in our mouth is just coppery. Anything else?
Coppery. There's a tinge of sweetness to it. There is something savory about it, and then there's something electric in the background. Something that's almost like when you have something excruciatingly sour in the back of your jaw, but it's not even quite that. It's something effervescent and different.
And what kind of bottles were they?
They look like bootleg bottles, like your standard fare whiskey bottles that would be bootlegged, possibly branded even.
I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I ain't never seen no booze like this before. What do you think?
I give it
Sure, it's booze.
Well, and actually looking at the rest of the animals, I then turn an eye to Alejandro, and because I'm pretty sure you're the only carnivore of us, right? Like, some of us may be insectivores, or or I think we're.
I don't know what a fox eats. A flying fox eats. So.
Probably insects.
Insects.
Fruit.
How does this make you feel, Alejandro?
I'll.
And I practically stick my finger up his nose.
While eating blood that's part of meat is kind of a norm, it is rather taboo to be. either turning it into liquor or just consuming it as is. It is odd, and I am certainly unnerved by it. It actually reminds me of what I saw in the jungles before I was brought to these cages.
My genus has cousins that feed that way, but not like this.
What Carl will do is like he's gonna see if he can climb up on something to get a better vantage point of what may be going around.
Okay. So you can pretty easily find machinery to climb on top of. And I would like for you to put your peepers to work as you're doing this, please.
Huzzah.
While he's doing that, how high up is that lever?
The lever is about human height, actually, like for a standard doorknob. What did you get, Carlos?
So that wasn't great. I got a total of 3 with double ones.
A 3 with double ones.
Yeah, that was not great.
Wow.
How about we say I slip, fall, and or so? I don't know. Wow, you got it, man.
Good news is you're going to get XP.
You are going to get XP, and you actually grab onto this really solid feeling pipe that's sort of snaked around the side of this square machine. But as you grab it, you realize that the screws holding it in are rusted. You fall. As you fall, you take the pipe with you, tearing it from the machine, and in the process, you smash into the tube. Remember that tube that had the black stuff in it, the inky stuff? Yeah, you managed to actually break that, and in the process, it shatters, and the liquid begins pouring out of it. And you see that as the liquid begins pouring out of the tube, it begins sizzling and smoking on this floor as it roils.
Seeing that going down, thinking this is a bad situation, I am going to run up my chimp friend's back, grabbing his hat, his hat, the only piece of clothing in the room, and I'm going to launch myself at the lever, and I wish to hang from the lever using the hat.
Excellent. I think that's getting out of a jam. So go ahead and make that roll for me, please, while this black, inky, viscous liquid continues to roil and bubble, folding over on itself and kneading as it continues to grow bigger and expand bigger. And it becomes larger than what the tube contained, and it seems to move of its own accord as it starts reaching for the chimpanzee. What did you get, Dave?
I've got a 9.
A 9. So I'm going to give you a choice here.
Okay.
You can choose to successfully get the lever pulled down. The electric shock does activate, and you'll take a single point of damage from that. Or alternatively, you can get the lever halfway pulled, which means it will need to be attempted yet again, but you won't take any damage from it.
I'm going to go with halfway pulled. A little help here, guys! Come on, someone grab my feet. It's almost there. Come on.
I'll help.
Okay, there's no roll needed for this. Describe how you help.
I'm just gonna grab his feet and pull.
All right, and so you pull him, right? And as you pull him, this door starts to rise on a chain pulley system, and it opens, revealing a tunnel beyond.
Well, my friends, I don't think we want to stay in here with whatever that is. And I point frantically at the black liquid filling the room.
No, we sure don't.
Before I leave, though, I want to take a try and take a look at all those markings again and do my best to memorize them.
Okay, sure. I guess, Dave, you've been writing this game, so you tell me what makes the most sense for how to do that with a roll. What would you roll for that, or is it something that you would probably just have a zookeeper do? Like they could just do it.
It's up to you whether how difficult you want it to be. It could very well be because it has to do with senses. I would say awareness, but also like I'm really good at that, so I don't know if that is necessarily.
So I would look at it. Yes, awareness I would say would certainly work. Because you're trying to do it quickly, I would also say Moxie would work just fine. Or like, if you've got some kind of, numbers kind of game going on, that could be a whole criminal element towards capturing a lot of information. So I feel like, Sly could work as well, depending upon, the parameters of what's happening here.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're going to treat this like a complex test because there's layers to what you could receive from this, right? So we're going to start with put your peepers to work to see how much of it you can actually take in this brief moment.
All right, so putting my peepers to work. All right, that's a 9.
Now,
A 9.
How many of these things are there, Steven?
3. And if others of you want to attempt to help, you can do so.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. If I could as well.
Well, I have an ability called You Got a Boss. If I assist someone with a bop, bringing the heat or start oh no, none of that's happening now, is it?
No, none of that's happening right now.
Oh yeah, my bad. Ignore everything I said.
It's all good. So you got a 9. And that means that you can get the bulk of it. You've got it. You can see the entire circle between, even though the creature, the ooze, as it were, seems to be moving and roiling over the runes, you manage to catch all of it. So now, go ahead and make a Moxie check to see if you can actually manage to get the information by getting out of a jam, basically keeping the information intact and getting it accurate.
All right,
as opposed to just recognizing the symbols.
Is it Moxie or is it the move get out of the jam?
I would say you're getting out of a jam because you're trying to do it quickly. Is one better for you than the other? Because you can use whichever is better.
So get out of a jam relies on Moxie, but when I'm specifically using get out of a jam, I use my awareness instead of my Moxie. So.
Oh, well, you can do that then.
Okay. Ooh, well, that's a 7 with doubles.
A 7 with doubles.
Yeah.
Love it. Are there any bosses showing?
No.
All right, well, then you get a +1 forward, which will benefit you in just a moment. So, you get that 7, and that's enough to be able to retain what the runes seem to look like.
Well, actually, I'm going to get a -1 forward, but I get to give a +1.
Oh, you give one. Okay,
yeah. So my next
I
thing,
see.
I am going to give it to Robin, our resident
Thank
grifter.
you. I appreciate that very much.
Okay. So, the resident grifter has another +1, so you're at +2 right now. So then finally, I need you to make Sly as you're trying to get away, or you can get out of a jam, your choice. But you're either being clever about it or you're just trying to do it quickly. One or the other, you can choose, but you are going to try to get away from this ooze without it damaging you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of the jam. Well, that is a 7, a 9. That's gonna be an 8. So, that puts me success with consequences.
Okay, so you can choose the consequence, and it's going to put Carl in your hands. One of you is taking 1 point of damage from this thing. The question is which one.
I volunteer.
You know what?
Well, the reason I'm volunteering is because I have an ability called Tough as Nails, where I get to reduce damage by 1.
Okay.
and the reason why I'm volunteering him is because he's not me, and he's the muscle. So,
Uh-huh. Okay.
So,
So this creature, it's really quite unlike anything you've ever seen before. The ooze lashes out with a tendril, almost like an octopus, as it lashes out against you. With this tendril, it burns with like an acidic type burn. So you are going to take a point of damage, which I'm pretty sure just gets negated for you, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
So, yeah.
I stare at this thing, say, "You gotta do a lot better than that."
Love it. Love it. Love it. So, you guys can now all roll get out of a jam for me as you attempt to leave before this door shuts automatically again of its own accord.
And that's Sly, right?
oh, that's perfect. That's
It's Moxie.
That saves me the trouble of looking for a way to shut this door. Ooh.
4, 6. Well,
Maybe a 7.
well, at least I'm consistent. I rolled a 6 with double 2s.
Wow.
Everything so between awareness and Moxie is my straight 0s.
I see. Well, you've got another experience point.
Well,
I'm gonna level up in session 1.
I will see your 2s with doubles, or your 2 with doubles, and I'll raise you 1/4 with doubles and an enemy boss.
Nice.
Oh,
So I just lost a marker.
you did lose a marker. And actually, as you guys are trying to get away, you start stumbling over one another. He tried to dodge behind you when this thing lashed out, and the result was you took the damage, but he stumbled himself. And the door is closing. And so I'm going to make both of you make a choice. One of you is going to get out of this room, and the other one's going to be trapped inside.
Oh no.
Nice.
Who is it?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can't fly or do anything like that, right, Dave?
Well,
Trigger glider.
I glide.
All right, I take this gliding animal and toss him out.
Okay. So he grabs you, picks you up, and throws you. And this door shuts
Gotta get the hell out of here.
just in time. You are now trapped between a metal door and an ooze.
Is there any sort of objects around me, or
It's a pipe.
Well, there are the glass shards from the bottles. And you notice that the lever resets when it is the door is shut. Robin, pick odds or evens for me.
Evens.
I would like to point out you did say a pipe came away from the wall, so there's also a loose pipe.
There is a pipe. Hold on, I gotta pick up my die. It landed on the floor. It doesn't count.
okay,
Dude,
So
you can
Robin-
totally use that pipe like a straw and just totally devour that thing.
right.
Robin, you picked
Yes.
evens.
I did.
I rolled even. So that means the bowler hat is still hanging on the lever.
All right, I know exactly. I gotta get my hat back.
Okay.
I take the pipe and trying to find a way to, use it as leverage to kind of push myself up, and I'll jump and go for another swing and grab for it.
Okay. You can roll your choice of Moxie, or I'll let it count as a bop because you're using your animal instincts here, your natural chimpanzee flair.
I'm definitely picking that wild because it's my +2. I'm a roll like crap. All right. right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9. You succeed. But your consequence is this thing is going to try to swipe at you again. So
Oh my god, it's sentient.
go ahead and make a moxie roll for me.
Got it.
Get out of a jam.
Oh, nice. Okay, so that's 8 with
8.
4.
8
Double
with
fours.
4.
Double 4s.
The acid
this
splatters.
Close. I'm sorry, it was this close getting triple 4s.
Oh, wow.
It was this close.
The acid splatters against the door and eats through the door, and you manage to get it open. You're not hurt. The door is open now, but also you noticed this thing can eat through the door.
Oh Lord. So I am just gonna go for it if the door is open.
All right, you run through the door,
Yeah.
and seconds later, the door closes of its own accord yet again.
I put on that little bowler hat, like, never leave home without it.
All right. So at this point, what are you guys doing? There is a tunnel ahead of you, and at the end of the tunnel, it tees off, one to the right, the other path to the left. What do you choose to do?
I get.
Go ahead.
So I mean, basically right or left, right? So, is there any way to see if any particular directions has had more traffic than the other?
In fact, there is. So go ahead. Anyone who wants to can put their peepers to work for this bit.
It's gonna be an 11.
Oh my gosh.
11. Okay.
I've got a 13 doubles ally boss.
Woo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Can I use your dice?
You got that marker back.
You did get that marker back. What did you get, Robin? And Carlos.
I have 2 forwards.
Oh,
Okay. Yep.
So 10 total.
10 total. All right.
I thought rolling was volunteer. I know.
Oh, you don't have to if you don't want to.
5, 6, 7, 8. Straight 8.
All right. So at this point, you realize that there's no harm with the tea in kind of going separate just a little bit. So Robin, Jasper, Jade, whatever you're going by at the moment, along with Carl, the two of you take the path to the left. You find yourselves in a room, an open room, and it has a lot of what looks like supplies. It seems there are empty bottles. There are also a lot of raw ingredients here. Things for what you would assume to be bootlegging, actually. And you also see a chest that's hanging half open, and a familiar purple dress is just dripping over the edge just a little bit.
Like, you hear an audible sigh, and I just reach it and pull it down, and I'm just gonna, like, dead start tugging it over my head and, like, muttering to myself, like, oh yes, of course, it would be back here, and of course it would be the dress right now. Is anybody else's stuff in here?
Everyone's stuff is in this chest.
I'm gonna start passing things out.
Get all literally suited up and then finish off with the tie. Like, yeah, this feels like home.
Hate to be dressed up with messy hair.
Oh, you look great.
Thank you.
Oh. Yeah. And so I guess Alejandro and It's Sugar is the name, right?
Flick. I go by Flick.
Flick. Flick and Alejandro didn't come down this path, did they?
No, you would
went to
have
the
to
right.
call them, but we'll get to that in a moment. Alejandro and Flick, the two of you travel the other path, and it branches yet again. This time in what looks like to be a straight path, and then one that branches off to the side. The path that branches off to the side is actually a stairway that goes down, and it's gated by a barred grate. The grate is locked, and you don't see a way to open it, but you do see that there is what looks like a ladder at the end of this other path, and there's light coming down from where the ladder leads.
We should tell the other guys about this. We need to get out of here.
Already split up once. Splitting further could lead to more dangers.
Right now, I just want to freaking know what happened to how we got here. I don't like losing track of things.
You and me both. So we'll, pad my way back to the others. Trying to listen to see if I can, hear what possible things they're up to.
Okay. So what does he hear as he's approaching the two of you? What are you talking about? Or are you being quiet?
I feel like quiet would be wise in this case.
Okay. So when Alejandro walks into the room, we'll start with Jay. Jay, can you describe to us what you now look like? Properly clothed.
So, you've got like the short flapper dress. It is purple. It's got a little green gem, like a brooch at the collar. And, her hair's still a mess, but she is standing differently, like shoulders back, like a more feminine confidence to her and a sort of sassiness to the way she's moving her arms. Wings. Yeah, bats don't have arms. They just have the wings with the little hands on them.
Okay. And what about Carl?
Carl is dressed to kill, figuratively and literally. You see him with his, little chimpanzee bowler hat. He's done up in kind of like a vest and dress pants, done up with a tie. For a moment, like it looks like, Carl's just getting the feel of things. It's like, all right, and he says, "Hold, wait, it's here." Goes into his back pocket and, yeah, it's me and you, Sharpie. As literally he flicks open his knife, like, yeah, we got a date with somebody tonight. As he stashes it back.
All right, and Alejandro, you show up in the doorway, seeing these two individuals now properly clothed and equipped.
Why are your things?
I pass. I think these belong to you. As he just passes you a big old pile of everything, not knowing what really belongs to you.
So Alejandro, pulls on, a pair of, high-waisted pants, crisp button-down white shirt with his fancy suspenders. Pulls on his, his Homburg, more of a curved hat than the typical straight bowler. Then he takes just a moment to go through the other items that would be there. He flicks out the straight razor before, sliding that into one of the, the waist pockets. Pulls out his pistol, checks it to make sure it's loaded and what have you. that goes into his, shoulder holster before he's like, ah, yes, and pulls out the big gun. That just kind of like slides on the back. Now we're ready to button up some trouble.
And I presume, Flick, you said you weren't trying to split up right now?
No, he came back with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what Alejandro said. So I probably rode back on his shoulder or something.
Okay.
And he would be completely fine with that.
So, Flick, you're dressing yourself. What are you wearing?
He is wearing basically a suit with a yellow trench coat over it and a bandit fedora that is also yellow as well. And he starts rummaging through his things, pulls out a pair of binoculars, stopwatch, pulls out a pocket watch, and then also pulls out a pistol, but not quite with the care Alejandro did. And just shoves it back haphazardly into his pocket. He seemed more concerned about his other belongings and possessions than he did the weapon.
Okay. Now, Jade, as you were looking through this human-sized chest, you encountered more clothing, more gear than just what you guys had. There were another 3 sets of clothing, 2 suits, and a modest dress. All of them sized for medium-sized animals.
Okay, so I am not going to take those things, not because I think those people are going to come back for them. Actually, I think it would be smarter to take them in case we found them on the way. But we don't have enough room to be carrying 3 extra sets of gear with us. We need to be traveling light so that we can get out of here quickly. So...
You say anything about the extra clothing?
I do. I point them out.
Okay. And what you find is a black suit with a blue bow tie. You find a modest dress with an apron that seems to be well loved and well worn, washed many times into supple softness, almost threadbare on the ends. And you find a much, much, much nicer suit. This one, tan, and it has a pocket watch with a very ornate letter A engraved on the front of it.
Are any of these outfits something that any of us would recognize, from our time here at the zoo?
Only one. And that would be the monogrammed pocket watch, which was famously carried by one of the tycoons who actually went missing about a week ago. His name was Aardvark Curtis.
So literally in the back of my head, I was saying Arno Shortman.
No.
He said a medium-sized animal. Thank you.
Yes, medium, not large.
I'm like, come on.
Well, it would be a shame to leave such a thing. Kind of, looks down at the watch again. If we happen to run into the aardvark, we can say that we found it. If we don't,
I'm gonna launch myself off his shoulder at the trunk, and I don't think you're gonna be finding Curtis anytime soon. I'll dive into the trunk and I want to rummage through the clothing. What I'm doing is I'm turning up the collars. I'm looking for animal hairs.
Okay. So, you do find that some of them were mammalian because of the different hairs you find. The Aardvark's suit had Aardvark hairs on it. Make a put your peepers to work roll for me just to see what else you get. Flick.
All right, that is a 13.
13. Okay. So you find that each of these has some dribbles of the same or a similar liquid staining them in different places. But the color is a little off in each of them. One is much lighter red, almost to a pink. One, the one on the dress, is purpley. And then the one on the Aardvark suit is black. And you rolled high enough to realize that actually this black is the same black that matches that roiling mess that was in that other room.
So I think whatever that thing in the other room is, I think it got Mr. Curtis. He's not coming back from the Doctor Watch.
Well, I don't think any of you have a name that begins with A, so unless you really want. Oh. He just lets the sentence trail off as he pockets the pocket watch.
So the room that we were in, there's like tubes and stuff with different liquids.
Mm-hmm.
Was it all just the one color?
All of the liquids that were in tubes was the black one.
Okay.
That being said, you because there was just the one tube that was full. The others were empty or had been emptied. But you did see that the other liquid in the room was from the bottles.
Yeah.
Now, do we have an idea of, like, are we still in the zoo? Were we able to see out from where we were, or
we never went up the ladder.
Correct.
So, do we suspect we're like somewhere in like the back part of the zoo, or do we think we're like completely off location?
Well, you've heard rumors that there are underground tunnels beneath the zoo, and in fact, that was the primary reason why the zookeeper couldn't take up residence in the zoo. The manor that they were building for him had foundation and structural problems because of a network of tunnels they weren't aware of.
So, I turn to the group. Does anyone remember what we were doing before the room?
I don't, but I think we should do our remembering someplace else.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl, you're the one that knows that thing was going to be able to eat through the door. Did you tell us that?
Yeah, like, I definitely, when we reconvene, I might have failed to mention, but, like, you know, I debrief, like, yeah, this thing could eat through metal, and
then
it looks
then
sentient.
Haste would certainly be prudent. I also recommend not doing any further splitting up.
So as we're heading down the back down the tunnel, heading back towards the ladder, I'll pull out my binoculars so I can look down the tunnel the way we came to see if I see any movement down there.
You do. You see a tiny pinprick of a hole in that metal door now.
We're gonna have incoming soon, fellas. And lass.
Well, gotta find a way out of here then.
Make things easier, Jay. Do you prefer gang or mob?
Oh, we're definitely a mob.
Yeah. And I look around, is there a way out of this current location.
There's two passageways we haven't examined yet. Flick and I would have told you that we examined further. There were it split off yet again, and we did not feel it wise to divide further.
Well, the brains of the operation, as I look over at Jay, wisely deduced that led us to where our stuff was. Perhaps left is where we want to go.
It is a thing that I live by, but there isn't a particular rationale for that. It's just luck.
Well, I mean, do we explore down here with slimy, slippery Sam coming down the tunnel there? That probably ate Curtis? Or do we just go up? Maybe it can't climb.
Well, it's only one way to find out, I'd say.
So I will scurry up the ladder and see if I can't peek out.
Okay. You scurry up the ladder. There is a manhole cover at the top, and as you shove it away, it's very heavy. It's very heavy. Give me a wild check to see how strong you are and if you can move this.
So Alejandro positions himself like a little bit back with his big gun at the ready, Sally, if you will, just like kind of pointing in the direction of where Mr. Oozeboy could possibly come, and if there's movement, there's gonna be gunfire.
Okay.
How do you feel about a 10?
A 10. It's heavy. It's so heavy. But you managed to get it moved away.
But fear is a hell of a drug.
And yes, it is. Fear is a hell of a drug. And right now, you are about to overdose. You find yourself now surrounded by bushes in what looks almost like a forest. The silver moonlight is shining down from overhead. You hear the distant sounds of laughter. Is that laughter you hear? Laughter and music. Yes, you hear laughter and music.
I want to make my way into the bush, kind of trying to conceal myself and stay hidden.
Okay.
And kind of like peek out to see like what's laughing.
Okay. As you do so, you find that there's a garden party on the other side of the bushes. And it seems that there are a variety of really, really well-dressed animals gathered in what looks like this lavish, immaculate, slightly overgrown statued garden in the back of the manor. And when I say the manor, that's a capital T and a capital M, because everybody knows about this manor. This manor was a project for the zookeeper to live within the confines of the zoo, but on the outskirts. It was actually erected on a bunch of islands, is what everyone calls them. They're really more like shallow spring ups of land amidst this waterway that feeds into the river that cuts through the zoo. And these islands are in the rough shape of an egg, but they're all cracked up because they're divided by waterways. And everyone calls this place Eggshell Island. And this particular manor is inhabited by a really well-loved mountain goat in the zoo, whose name is Jay Goatsby. He throws weekly parties for the high class and well-to-do, tycoons and mobsters alike. If you are okay with him serving the booze and you're cool enough that you're not going to tell the fuzz, you're invited.
So I'm going to then scurry back down, poke my head in. Yo, you're not going to freaking believe this, guys. We're on freaking Eggshell Island, and we're in the manor.
The manor?
The manor. And there's a freaking party going on. Good thing you got your dress there, Jay.
Oh, believe me, that is a cold comfort right now. Have you seen my hair? And I'm like trying not to be seen right now. I am like standing behind things. I am like moving like where the people are thick so that I can just like scoot between them. Like,
Maybe Alejandro.
I'm mortified.
Maybe Alejandro there could fix up your hair for you and give you a hand.
Do whatever you needed. I'd offer my hat, but I don't think it's quite the right size, and not sure it even matches the guard.
I need to find a washroom.
Well, the manor
I'm gonna
is
go look for a
open.
washroom.
Okay, the manor is open, and you can freely walk into the party, walk through the guests, and
I'm
walk
sorry.
in.
Who did you say was
Jay Goatsby.
Jay Goatsby? Okay, I got the
Yep.
Goatsby part.
Yep, there is actually, if you guys want to go in our Discord, our personal Discord, under our Zoo Mafia Blood Moonshine campaign, I have a list of NPCs at this party.
Oh.
Jeez.
Fancy.
So you can choose who you want to interact with, if anyone.
I need to find a bathroom first. Nobody can see me with my hair like this.
Absolutely. I need you to commit a caper for me to see if you can go unnoticed.
Oh no.
Is there anything I can do to be a distraction to allow the boss to, not be noticed?
You can, in fact. You can roll to help commit a caper. Tell me what you're doing to do this.
So if I can be aware of the situation of who might see them be passing by, like, I would just kind of stroll up and kind of present myself and engage in conversation. I was kind of pulling up the list to see who might be here,
Okay.
see who who I might choose to interact with, if they're any of my peoples or whatnot. Oh,
Yeah. So
Commando.
you do first the first thing you notice, because your eyes are on Jade right now, a large grizzly bear in a suit. He seems to be some sort of muscle who's accompanied Carlo Hambino, has taken note of Jade, does a double take, and then starts beelining for her. Jade, you see this individual, and you know exactly where you know this individual from, because he's caught a couple of your performances.
Oh no. I continue to move for the bathroom at ludicrous speed because I have to fix my hair before I talk to someone of Oh no, this is nightmare mode. Like we were in a bad situation before. This is worse.
So
Okay.
I'm literally gonna put myself in between the two.
Okay. So you put yourself in between the two, and this grizzly bear just sort of stops, and he's sort of looking over your shoulder, and he's like, excuse me, I gotta get over there for a second.
They will be available for conversation in the near present, but there are some things that need to be dealt with first.
With you and me? I don't even know you.
No,
You want to talk to the
no.
boss? He's over there.
No, you wish to speak to Jade, yes?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, she's famous. I want an autograph.
they're preoccupied at the moment, but they will return, and I will see to it that there's a moment that you can converse and be civil.
Wait, you know Jade?
Yes.
You can get me a talk, not just an autograph.
I mean, within limits, sure.
All right, well, sir, you have yourself a deal. And he grabs your paw in his giant bear paw and just shakes vigorously. And Jade, you make it into the manor, but the thing is, this is a mansion. There's a lot of rooms.
Hmm.
Put your peepers to work to see if you can find it, and I hope you're quick
Oh,
because there are people inside here too.
Well,
9.
hopefully Flick. I was gonna say, hopefully
9.
Flick will kind of accompany and maybe be able to assist.
Okay. Flick, are you accompanying and trying to assist?
No. Well, yes, but no. I am accompanying, but I'm not really trying to assist. I'm like, you're talking about your hair? You're worried about your freaking hair? My ex is out there.
well, then it looks like we are very much trying to avoid the crowd, at least for the moment. I will be glad to help you with that, but I have an emergency situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you with that freaking emergency before I don't want to talk to her. She don't want to talk to me.
Okay, well
it
then
was
let's
real
not
bad.
talk. Okay, that's fine. Just help me find a washroom.
And I will assist in finding the washroom.
Okay. So, did you roll for it? Did you roll to mix it up, or do you just?
9.
Okay, you got a 9. So, you do have a consequence here.
Yeah, that's all
I'm gonna
right.
let you choose.
Oh my god, I totally. Oh no, it's that is a 6 in assisting.
So you get an experience point,
I get an experience point, and I get the bad stuff.
and so Jade gets to choose. Do the two of you run into his ex, or into one of the performers of the evening, Ella Fitzgerald?
Oh, let's make it, Ella. I will bite this bullet. This is going to be terrible. I'm here for it.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, technically, since I botched the assist, the bad stuff is supposed to happen.
That's
to me.
fair. That is absolutely fair. You know what? I'm stepping back. Let's bring on the X.
Okay. So, Flick, you're great. You find this washroom so quickly. In fact, this manor is, for being human size and human design, it's really well made, actually. Like, they were smart about this. The entire architecture and structure, the way it works, it feels like it's just guiding you where you want to go. You start looking for the bathroom, and it's like, you just kind of know. And you find it, you open this door, and you open the door for Jade, and who is standing right there?
Hey, Jay, right this way. Oh, Franny. I mean, so good to see you. It's been like forever.
Oh.
How you been doing, Dollface?
Flick? Are you spying on me again?
Nah.
I'm going. May I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I will come over and like sort of place a gentle like the wing hand on his shoulder, and I'm like, I am so sorry to have kept you waiting. I will only be a moment. So hello, darling. And I'm, cant my head and just leave that touch lingering a hair longer, as if to imply we're here together before going into the bathroom, and just leave you on
Okay.
that note.
Start spitting.
Damn.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Okay.
We're gonna see how she receives this.
8.
8. Okay. So, she
Sounds like, believes
looks
it
at
for now, but
you.
lingering doubt.
looks at him, and there's a success, but there's a consequence. She believes that you're together. And as you shut the door behind you, you can hear her lean over to him and just say, "You could have higher standards, you know."
Oh, I just smile before disappearing into the bathroom.
This is exactly your problem. You settle, and you settle, and that is exactly why you couldn't settle with me, darling.
Oh no, that is exactly why he ended up with you. Door closes.
Oh! She looks at you. She
Yeah,
looks
the door
at the door
shut.
that's shut, and she just flicks her tail, and she's like, "I have to get back to my date, darling." And what a date he is indeed. We are the spectacle of this occasion, the toast of the town, and maybe you can come meet him when you're not so preoccupied with the hair disaster.
I just hope you both get what you're looking for. Steven,
Yes.
Zookeeper. I have an ability called First Look.
Uh-huh.
And when you enter a new location, you can put your peepers to work. So, since we've entered the manor, I would like to put my peepers to work in order to try and gain some holds.
Okay, sure thing.
Oh, man. Well, so, I got a 2, which is going to be a 4. Which is going to be more XP for me. I am like 1 away from leveling up.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a -1 because I was too distracted by running into a -1 forward because I was far too distracted by running into old Franny, my ex there. And I do not get to ask any holds.
Okay. So you just watch her sashay away, and you see her in this glistening black ball gown. Like, she is ready for this. And she actually wears her tail along her shoulder, almost like a scarf or a boa made of fur. She swaggers just a little more than you remember her doing as she leaves you.
And just real quick for everyone, a hold is, if I would have been successful and gotten 1 or 2 holds, it means I could have asked the zookeeper 1 or 2 questions, and the zookeeper would have had to answer honestly.
So meanwhile, Alejandro, you successfully stopped this grizzly bear, and he's turned and returned to Carlo Hambino, who's also accompanied by an elephant, a very large elephant. But what are you doing?
So, for one, certainly not wanting to get drawn into a conversation by Fernando. So I'm looking to kind of like stay on the outskirts, not only to wait for the rest of my my comrades, but to kind of like see if there's anybody that I might be able to ascertain that's a little bit lower on the social standing that I wouldn't be insulting to try and talk to.
Sure. Go ahead and make that roll for me. It's going to be put your peepers to work or start spinning. Your choice.
Well, let's see here. I think they're pretty much the same here. No, they're certainly not. So I'll put my peepers to work.
Okay.
That is going to be a 9 with doubles.
A 9 with doubles. Any bosses showing?
Nope.
Okay. Well, you did get doubles, and you got a success with consequence. So that means you get 2 -1 forwards and a +1 forward, I think.
What was the result?
Oh, not with the enemy boss. Sorry, just success with consequences, and give one of your... No, that's triples. Sorry, I'm looking at this
what was the
chart
roll?
here.
9 with doubles.
9 with just 9 with doubles is he gets to give a +1 and he takes a -1.
Okay, so who are you giving a +1 forward to?
All right. Well, so Carl's the only one that's kind of on scene, so I'll give it.
Okay. All right, so Carl gets a +1 forward to what he's doing, and you succeed. And you notice there is a goose honking orders rather acerbically at this mouse that he's running ragged. The mouse is running around trying to basically direct the wait staff in who to offer what hors d'oeuvres. And it seems the mouse is actually the cook. And so they're the lower class here. But your consequence is that you feel a clawed hand on your shoulder. Well, it seems as though they'll let anyone in here these days, won't they?
Hello, Fernando.
Hello, indeed. How are you?
Well, it has not been the best of days, so to put it bluntly.
And this broad, charismatic tiger wearing a tuxedo with a very prim and vividly green tie that complements his orange and black striped fur beautifully. He sort of half turns you as he comes around, so it's like he's seeing you as an equal, but he's also kind of like manhandling you and circling you, like stalking you all at the same time.
Yep.
And he says, "Well, let me get a look at you then. Oh, hello." And you see a sugar glider sashay up, and she hops up on his shoulder and gives him a peck on the cheek. "How are you doing, baby?" He's like, "Oh, just catching up with an old friend." And he offers you a smile that's half baring his teeth as he does.
So I'll do, the minimum courtesy in greeting the sugar glider. But there's definitely like the typical look of like, what the hell? She's smaller than your hand, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So what brings the pair of you here?
Well, I was invited to this shindig. Goatsby hosts a wonderful party, usually, and I was accompanied by my date here. This is Franny. She is absolutely brilliant. And, she starts nuzzling him and giggling, and then he giggles back and nuzzles her back, and they start being like ugly cute for a minute. And you can see in the corner of her eye, she is looking directly at the balcony inside this massive 3-story window directly through it to the balcony where one Flick Finelli is watching this take place.
So I don't know, and I don't know what the equivalent of insight would be here, but I'm gonna try and read the situation. Does this seem like she's just trying to rub his nose in it, or is this a scenario of like, she's not interested in the tiger, she's trying to win him back?
Start spitting, or put your peepers to work. I'll give you the choice.
All right, great. I will put my peepers to work. That's no doubles. It's gonna only be an 8.
An 8. You can tell she definitely has a little bit of an agenda with this guy. Whether there are genuine feelings there or not is shaky. You think that she's at least attracted to him. Like, she finds him attractive. Whether or not the romance is real is questionable. That's your consequence. Okay. You're not fully sure. But she does seem at least attracted to him physically.
I would say, at least half of the zoo would be attracted to Fernando. I mean, he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But all right.
Yep.
Well, I will bear my way through the conversation, being as cordial as I can, but looking to like find an exit strategy. So as soon as I can extract myself with the slightest means, I'm out of the tour.
That makes perfect sense. And unfortunately, Fernando's very good at that subtle way of keeping you strung along while taking jabs at you here and there. So it takes you a minute to get out of the conversation. Sure. You will succeed, but not before your ego has been thoroughly thrashed in the way that Fernando loves doing with you.
There is no getting out of a conversation with Fernando without that.
Yeah.
As far as felines go, he owns the zoo and he knows it.
Yep. Now, that being said, one chimpanzee has been doing something here. What is our chimpanzee friend Carl doing?
So, what Carl has been doing in this meanwhile is he's been going through the crowd, just making sure, things are as how they should be. And he doesn't really know too many people here. But he does notice a Bo Stricter
Mm-hmm.
over there, and he's like, excuse me, you're Bo Stricter, yes.
Why, yes, I am.
Yeah, with the suits and the nice fitting clothing we all heard so much about, right?
Yes, and he looks you up and down. Speaking of, why are you here? You aren't dressed to impress anyone here. Are you the help?
No, sir. I just wanted to speak to you about a suit for functional nightwear.
Yes. Unfortunately, I don't think that you can that we are able to serve the price range that you would be looking for. And he sort of like pats you consolingly on the shoulder with his tail as a second snake slithers up with a drink in her own tail. Well, don't be too harsh with him, dear. You never know. Sometimes people dress for comfort.
Or more for functionality, No need to ruin a good suit while on the job.
Ah, I see. So you're affiliated with that one. And her eyes flick to Carlo Hambino, or that one. And her eyes go the other way as you see Al Capone is here as well. Forgive my husband's rudeness. Connie Stricter, this is my husband, Bo.
I extend my hand, noticing the immediate faux pas, and just giving a bow to them, and lifting my hat as well.
Such manners! And you were going to turn him away. And she sort of like the drink in her tail actually almost liquidly travels further down to leave enough space for her to half whip her husband with the end of her tail.
Oh wow. Oh well, it's like I said, always looking for a fine fitting suit for as I turn over to the particular bosses. Comfort while functionality.
Of course. Please take my sincerest apologies on behalf of my husband. And she eyes him again and flicks her tongue. And he'll be happy to help you with a generous 10% discount. And you see Bo start to protest, and she raises her tail again, and he just sort of like,
As I just see how this is going off, and not wanting to make Carl's been on one end of spat here and there. He knows not to make it any more than what it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When Connie gives us a moment, say like, excuse me, sir, I didn't mean to get you in trouble to missus, but just wanted to say, because sometimes a case here and there gets misplaced, but who knows, maybe we could work something out, and case a little bit of the good stuff may show up on your door one day.
Forgive me. I misjudged you. based on your appearance. My wife is the better half in seeing what I don't a lot of times. Do come by Boas on the strip, and we'll be happy to assist in any way we can.
I I give him like one of my cars. It's literally just a car with a banana on it.
Okay, cool. So as all of that's going down, let's return to Flick and Jade. Flick, are you waiting for Jade or are you doing something else? You're muted.
All right, I actually want to do something else.
Okay.
So, while Jade is indisposed and everyone else is kind of engaged, I want to slip off and see if I can't find any lower levels to the manor.
Okay.
I want to see if there's any way to get to where we were from inside the building, because I'm kind of curious if there's a connection.
Okay, sure thing. Go ahead and put your peepers to work.
That's a 9.
A 9. So you search around, and you're actually finding that the servants just sort of act like you belong there, as long as you act like you belong there. You look through several rooms, and it doesn't seem there's any overt way into the underground. You start checking things like bookshelves with secret switches, or make sure that every one of the sconces on the wall is mounted properly, and you still find that you don't find any way to underground. However, I would like you to roll a d6 for me, because I will give you something, since you found a lot of nothing in the one end.
3.
3. You hear thumping, laughing, and bleating, not bleeding, bleating, coming from behind one of the doors.
Oh, I want to see if I can't look through the keyhole or under the door crack if there's one.
Okay. So you look through the keyhole and you see a coyote and a mountain goat going at it.
Is it safe to assume that's Jay Goatsby?
It is. And it is also, you can start spitting or put your peepers to work if you want to figure out what else is going on here.
All right.
See if you can get a good look.
All right. That is a 10. Put my peepers to work.
Okay. You see that the coyote is one Nick Carnivore, who is currently supposed to be one half of a power couple with Jordan Barker, a famous tennis player and related to the Barker family.
Okay. We're going to mentally tug that away. What is the room outside of the room they're in? Is it a hallway?
It is a hallway. And this leads into the master bedroom, the master suite.
So, are there other doors along this hallway? Is it kind of secluded?
This is at the end of the hallway. You've checked the other rooms, which are largely guest rooms, and a couple of washrooms. Actually, there's more than one washroom in here. You just found the closest one to the outside.
So I guess what I'm looking for is a place where I can kind of be up a little bit higher, that I can kind of see the door, and also I kind of want to be seen.
Okay.
But where I can kind of chillax a little.
Sure. There are actually flying buttresses in this manor, and it's pretty easy to catch on a ledge given that you're quite small.
Yep.
You can perch on a ledge pretty comfortably, just chill, relax a little bit, you know?
All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just chill there for a while, waiting for them to emerge.
Okay. So the first to emerge is Nick Carnivore, who is currently adjusting his tie as he looks one direction, then another, and then looks up. And you see his mouth drops.
Yeah, so as he's coming out, I pull out a cigarette and kind of like start tapping it. Hey, bud, got a light? Or maybe your friend in there does.
And
Or
he
should I...
looks back, and you can see that split second where he's considering just running back in and slamming the door.
I guess to that, when I get that vibe, what I'll do is... Oh, that's fine. That's fine. You can do that if you like. I'll just go grab the missus. She could probably get that door open.
And he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a lighter.
That's a good chap there. We should go someplace and talk.
Okay. But look, you really can't say anything.
No, you look, bud. I got some business propositions I'd like to make towards you, and think of it as an investment.
All right. Well, let's go anywhere else.
Sure thing, bud.
The garden behind the statuary.
Sure. Dealer's choice.
All right.
And as you know, when he leaves me that way, does that kind of go past the party?
It does. It actually goes. It sort of like circles the outskirts of the party and goes into this area that it was at one time supposed to be a hedge maze, and it's now just sort of overgrown and ill-kempt.
So, as we are, I want to keep my eyes open for either Jay or Alejandro. Preferably Jay, but I'll settle for Alejandro. I will purposely avoid Carl.
Okay. So, you do notice that Alejandro is still in the throes of trying to get out of a conversation with the tiger, who's extremely popular, who has your ex perched on his shoulder being lovey-dovey. And meanwhile, Jade, you got your hair fixed and it looks perfect now. It should always look perfect, but gravity and humidity are things that exist in the world, unfortunately. You're muted.
Gravity and humidity are things that exist in the world, as well as blood and whatever that blood was mixed with, and we're trying not to think about that right now. I am in the process of getting a cigarette out of my little cigarette holder. It is very fashionable. It's got a little jewel on it. I am just going to, tap that out. I'm going to put the packet back into my interior pocket. I will light it. I am poised. This is fine.
I will give you this. You find that red stuff that you were covered in and was matting your fur and was sticky and tacky and hard to get off comes right clean off with water. It almost dissolves in the water.
Interesting. So not blood. At least not entirely blood.
Nope. Yep.
Water soluble.
Candy.
I will try and get Jay's attention as we're walking.
Okay, so Jade, as you exit, now looking as you should always look if fate were a just god, you notice to the left your friend Flick with a coyote, who you may or may not know. The choice is yours.
So, does it look like they're getting along fine, or does it look like my friend Flick needs a rescue?
It looks like the coyote needs a rescue.
Oh. Well, in that case, carry on.
Well, I'm going to signal to you that to come with.
I do. approach, and there's like just a little sway in that step, and I am looking much more comfortable being at a party and in a social situation now that I am presentable.
Fair. He leads him behind the statuary, which is overgrown with vines and a rose bush, actually, to the entrance of an overgrown, ill-kempt, and barely functional hedge maze.
So, hey, Jay, meet my new
Yes.
friend here, Nick Carnivore, who's got a bit of a hankering for mutton, if you know what I mean, and I give you kind of like a lewd look.
Oh, and Nick, it's been a while. How are you?
We need investors for certain business opportunities, and I think Nick would be very happy to oblige. Or certain details may come out about his hankering for mutton.
Mm.
Well, in all fairness, Nick sort of like straightens his tie. It's more like the mutton has a hankering for dog food.
I don't think it'll matter much either way to the missus.
She is not a missus yet, and go ahead, tell her. Just don't tell anyone else.
We might just
Well.
have to tell everyone else.
Bye. You are quite eager today, aren't you? It doesn't necessarily have to happen like that.
And, let me see. Dave, odds or evens?
Let's go odd. This is an odd situation.
All right, odds. So, you can tell me, does Jordan come over or not? She notices.
Oh, she notices what's going on.
She does, but you tell me if she comes over or not.
I don't think she does.
Okay. So this reddish brown wolf catches a glimpse of all of you gathered over by the hedge maze, and then she turns and continues her conversation with a doe deer.
So, I guess I'm gonna kind of like nudge Jay in the ribs a little bit, and I don't know. I'm trying to like get across to Jay that we kind of want to exploit this person now that we kind of know his secret.
Oh
But
yeah,
also-
no, I understand that. I'm being the good cop.
Oh, okay. But also, I'm not the talker of the group. I'm not very persuasive, and I'm also not, like Alejandro would make a better bad guy.
I just smile and I'm like, my friend is very eager and honestly not quite as in touch with the pulse of this city as I am. It is important that the news gets where we want it to go and nowhere else. And I can make sure that happens. I can keep him quiet, don't worry.
He
But-
nods.
His plans actually are pretty cohesive, and it is worth hearing him out. And it's like I'm aiming to have a little bit of a layer of a threat there, but not for it to be overt. I'm just, just a little bit of pressure.
Okay,
Big
so
toe, don't floor it.
speaking of, because of your particular background, I'm going to let you either make a start spitting or put your peepers to work roll for something retroactive.
Okay. We are start spitting at, once again, 8. 8 loves me today.
Okay, so you know that you have seen this guy at your place of work,
Mm-hmm.
you have also seen Jordan at your place of work.
Yeah, I mean, like, this does not surprise me one bit, and I'm like, oh no, we're not like actually trying to use this guy's sexuality as a thing to threaten him with, are we? Like, I feel like I see Lee, I'm just catching on to that as well. Like, that's what's being talked about here. I'm not sure that Jade would do that.
I
So
was actually
you
thinking
just
the
realized it.
relationship.
Okay, so it's like that specific person and not the fact that it is queer.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the
Yeah, in that
relationship.
case, it's fine. Yeah, no. I mean, like, if this is a predator prey thing, then absolutely, like, we're gonna lean on that.
Yeah, because in this society, relationships between predator animals and prey animals is not exactly super kosher.
Yeah. And also, I thought that maybe like he was doing this on the sly behind his girlfriend's back. So that's the actual
Oh
pressure
no, they're
I want.
co-beards.
That was the pressure that I wanted to apply, but I didn't know any of that. So
No, I will, like, if you will allow me to just narrate the fact that this is a thing that happens over the course of the conversation, somehow
Mhm.
work it in to hint it to Flick that that's what's going on and that he's got the wrong read on the situation.
Sure, absolutely. However you would want to do that.
Subtly.
Okay.
yeah. Well, and also we can just like you can like guide the conversation.
Like,
And-
I'm not gonna out him. I'm just gonna be like, I'm sure that she will not care.
Mm-hmm.
Although I must say, Flick doesn't really care how he exploits this individual. To be honest with you, as long as he, at the end he gets what he wants, and that is to have Nick under his little tiny thumb.
And I'm going to let you realize then, over the course of this flick, you have picked someone who is a banker, but he's really by far probably one of the poorest people here of the wealthy.
But he probably handles their money.
He does handle their money. He
Or
handles their
peanuts.
peanuts often.
Yes. But as Jay was saying, there's no reason for this to turn ugly. We can help each other out.
Oh, okay. Okay, what did you have in mind?
Well, for now, let's just say you owe us a favor.
I can do favors.
And we'll leave it at that.
Okay. You can tell whoever you want about me, I don't care, but don't do that to him.
We don't want to see anybody get hurt here. We're respectable business types ourselves, in our own way.
All
But
right.
it could be a dog-eat-dog world out there, if it needs to be.
I catch your drift.
Why don't you
I
go?
will.
Why don't you go enjoy the party with your date? And I kind of wink at him.
Right. And he will just sort of like half slink off. And
So
yes.
I keep trying to keep an eye out for when Jade finally makes an appearance. So like I'm not unobservant. So like I see Jade and Flick crossing the back part of the lawn and head towards the statuary and the maze. So like as soon as there's just like a momentary pause, I gesture towards towards where Jade went, and I just excuse me, there's somebody that I need to go see, and just take that pause of like, wait a second, that wasn't proper. But before he can even find a way to rope me back in, I am gone, and I make my way over over to Flick and Jade. I wait for the moment that they're done that conversation so that I'm not attacking into whatever it was. And I come up, Jade, there's, I know you wanted to, exit and clean yourself up, kind of stepped in, and you've got a fan here that wants to kind of talk with you. I promise that you give him a couple of minutes, provided that the conversation stayed civilized.
Of course, I would never leave my public waiting. Thank you so much. And I will, just like one paw in both of her hands for a moment, inclines her head, and we'll head over there. But it's like the body language is making it clear that yes, we are familiar with each other and are here as part of the same group.
Okay.
And then I bring her over towards the bear, and again try to observe the situation so that I am not stepping on any kind of toes, because he's supposedly well connected and do not want to upset Ambino or his posse.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stephen, 20 minutes, and I am going to make this man the center of my full attention the entire time.
Okay. So when you walk up, well, first off, Carlos, is Carl joining with everybody, or are you just gonna wait and do your own thing in a minute?
Yeah, like Carl at this point would have, tried to find the rest of the group.
Okay. So you're aware that Jade is now going off to do something with a fan. So, Jade, are you doing that by yourself, or are you taking anybody with you?
If anybody would like to come, the entourage is welcome, but I am also entirely okay jumping on this grenade alone.
Okay.
Well, I'm bringing you there because I promised to do so, and especially in a social situation, you gotta live it up. And
oh yeah, for sure. And this is good for my relationship with my fans. Like this is good PR for me. I'm fine with this.
Sure.
This person worked with Ambino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So like I kind of treat him like I see him at the office once in a while. Like, hey, how you doing?
Okay. All right. So you approach, and this grizzly bear is shoving a crab puff in his mouth, sees you, drops the plate with about 6 more, and then sees that he has crab stuff all over his claws, wipes it on his suit, realizes what he did, tries to scrub it off, and then by the time you're there, he just looks at you. He is sweating bullets. There are pit stains. He's like, hello, you're famous. You're a great singer.
Thank you.
So, as he starts to get into like the stutter, being very familiar with it, I like step into his line of view to kind of like break the mental connection of the distraction, so that he can set his mind and words to proper phrase before I say, please allow me, to introduce, and I gesture at you.
It is right proper nice to meet you. I am Barry Griswold, and I am your biggest fan. If you would be willing to, and he starts fumbling in his different coat pockets for
I'll
a
get
notepad.
my own pen out as he's doing that, and I smile and like kind of look up at him, and I'm like, you know what? I absolutely believe it. How is the weather up there anyway?
And he starts roaring with laughter, quite literally, actually, because he is a grizzly bear. And then he sort of catches himself, and he offers you a half-shredded by Claws notebook.
And I will absolutely, I'll find a page, I will sign, I will do a little doodle, just little bat face on it with the tiny wings behind the head, just a little drawing, like a signature.
Right. And he will close up the notebook, and he places it incredibly gingerly back into his lapel pocket and begins talking your ear off about everything that he can possibly think of.
Oh, and I engage. I am fully here in this conversation. I know this game.
probably about 3/4 of the conversation is about foods that he likes and all the foods you should eat here. And
Okay.
the fact that there is bootleg alcohol being served, but you have to ask the right server because they get it from the back. Because there are a couple people from the fuzz here, they just look the other way. And
I will find out which server the right server is, and I will like figure out for sure like which thing. If I had to try only one thing here tonight, what would you suggest?
Those. And he points to the ground where the crab puffs have fallen off of the plate. He's like, I think I ate all of them. And he like bends down, grabs one, blows on it, rubs it off, and then offers it to you.
You know what? I eat it. Like that's, there's a moment because Jade is a little bit of a germaphobe, but like it's part of the performance. The show must go on. Goes ahead and does it. There's just the slightest bit of terseness, but like she's trying.
When you do that, it actually puts him significantly more at ease. And his entire body just relaxes and he starts picking them up off the ground and eating them.
That actually is pretty good, though.
I know, right? Like, I didn't know they made them this good. This is amazing. It's like salmon, but better. It's like sweet salmon.
So while they're talking, like, was he by himself or was are we at Gambino's table?
So he kind of separated himself from Gambino for this interaction.
Okay. All right. I didn't feel it would be like, it would not be a good idea to just be like, all right, she's going to focus on him, but who else is here to kind of engage with? Because I did not want to get them completely isolated and feel like, oh, you've been shut out by this group that's come over.
Mm-hmm. And Al Capone makes her way toward Carl. So, did you do what I asked?
Of course we did it. I mean, that's the reason why you called us in, is to make sure it got done.
And you didn't think that there'd be a better time to tell me than when I came to this party on business?
Ma'am, look, I mean, I was a little tied up. This is the quickest I could have gotten here. And besides, I didn't want to ruin the taste of what you're sipping on with, bitterness of business. But apologies, I'll make right in the future.
I specifically sent you to keep an eye on them. Can I trust them? Can we trust them?
I think it's a safe bet.
All right. All right then. So, since you're here, what did you learn about the Blood Moonshine?
Well, nothing conclusive, but what I can't say for certain is it has one hell of a kick.
I see. So you had some. So the Jaguar lead was good then.
Yeah. You should have seen him, man. Hook, line, sinker.
All right then. So where's the rest of it?
Well, ran into a little bit of tiff, but nothing that couldn't have been handled. But getting the actual stash is gonna be a little bit more work, but I rest assured you'll have it by tomorrow night.
All right. Well, then come to my office tomorrow night before you get started, so you can fill me in on what you're doing, and we'll go from there. And you know what? You've always had a good read on people, so if you think that they're really trustworthy, you can bring them along.
Okay.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow night then.
As I take my little bowler hat and, like, you know, showing proper respect.
And she nods and makes her way away. So at this point, we're going to wrap up the party. Does Carl do anything else pertinent at the party?
Yeah, he drinks as much water as possible to jog his memory. Like, what the fuck?
Okay. What about Alejandro? How does he spend the remainder of his evening before returning to his enclosure?
So, I want to try and see, through observation or, dare I say, subtle conversation, I want to find either, dirt on Fernando, find allies of people that, don't like Fernando by, like, observing to see if there's anybody that's given him some stink eye for whatever reason. I need to, at some point in time, even if it's just a minor victory, I need to get one up on this a-hole.
Okay. Go ahead and make put your peepers to work or start spit and roll, your choice.
Gotta be those eyes. Damn, that's a good roll. That's gonna be a 12 with doubles in the ally boss shot.
All right. So 12 with doubles and the ally boss showing. So you got doubles and the ally boss, which means you get a critical success and you gain a marker.
Man,
Your
my
critical
markers are full,
success.
but, I'll take the crit.
You find what seems to be the only person in the whole zoo that not only doesn't particularly care for Fernando Tigre, but actively despises him.
Ooh.
And that is a rival bootlegger by the name of Jackie Dragna. She's a Komodo dragon and a presence to be reckoned with, charismatically and physically. She does seem rather preoccupied tonight, but if you want to arrange for a meeting with her, say tomorrow, aka next session, that can be arranged easily enough, given that she seems to observe you don't much care for Fernando Tigre either.
Yeah, I will take the note and look for an eventual meeting, whether it be tomorrow or sometime down the road. But we will definitely connect and find some way to stick it to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about Jade?
I'm sorry, what about Jade? I had
How
completely
is-
spaced out for a second.
How is Jade finishing the evening? Just with
Oh.
Barry or something else?
Well, I mean, when I finally managed to disengage myself, and I probably, like, I promised myself it's gonna be 20 minutes, it's probably closer to 25 because you know how these things go.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just, go find that server that knows where to get the bubbly.
Right. And there is an array of bubbly here.
Oh, good.
And you can get as slizzard as you want. And what about Flick?
So, Flick is going to probably kind of like drift off to someplace quiet to brood a bit, and fall into a bit of melancholy. But at some point, he is going to approach Alejandro before the party is over. And, hey, Alejandro, buddy, what are you doing hanging around my extra new squeeze?
Say again?
Yeah, I saw you in
Tiger?
but no, I don't care about him. But that's my ex's new squeeze.
I didn't know that you and whatever her name was were a thing. Fernando the Tiger likes to lord his presence all over the other cats in the zoo.
So
Showcase his superiority in front of anyone and everyone. So when he saw me here, he had to strut his stuff.
yeah, me and Franny there. We used to be married. Feels like a long time ago. But things didn't
Sorry
quite
that,
work out.
Sorry that things didn't quite work out, but there's. I don't think everything is 100% on the up and up between them two. I like to observe, especially when Fernando decides to get on his usual tirades. I'm pretty sure that Franny, whatever her name is putting on a show. Yeah, sure, she's attracted to the tiger. Heck, I'm attracted to the tiger, and I don't usually play that game. But I'm sure there's some level of performance, so maybe you still got a shot.
Oh, it ain't like that. She hasn't been the same since. And I kind of just trail off. But anyway, it's getting late. The humans will be coming soon. We need to get back to our enclosures.
Sure.
So, one by one, you make your way to your enclosures well before the other guests leave, because frankly, you weren't invited in the first place, and it's, you don't want to outstay your welcome. So you go to bed and everything is quiet as the sun starts to rise for most of you. However, one of you, just one, has an unexpected visitor waiting for them in their enclosure. And this unexpected visitor does not make themselves known. They don't make themselves seen. They aren't even smelled. Jade, you take off your wig. You stash it where it's safe. And from the door just behind you, the doorway, in your mirror, the vanity mirror, you see a gloved something peek out holding a revolver. Shot through the head, the bullet cracks your mirror, blood splatters everywhere, and you drop to the floor, quite dead. And that is where we're going to pick up next week on a Tuesday as we resume our Tuesdays. That's where we're ending it. So thank you, everyone. Dave, I'm going to hand it back to you, sir.
Steven, you're a bastard. Thanks for everyone for watching and everyone for playing. Just a quick reminder, down in the description below, you can find a link to the upcoming Kickstarter. Get notified. We're going to have some early bird specials. There will be introducing a new boss for the zoo, and you can get a free set of their dice if you back early in the first 48 hours. So you're going to want to get notified. And with that, until next time, stay nerdy.
Nerdy.
Nerdy.